Yeah, guys, it's Butler Bulldog Bill. I'm about to talk about the brand new Big East Conference. I'm pretty excited about this move. Supposedly Butler is leaving the Atlantic 10 after this season and is going to the new Big East Conference. And I'm really happy. I wanted him to join with the Catholic 7 in the first place. First of all, let me just mention, Butler is not a Catholic school. Butler is not affiliated with any religion. When it was founded, it was, I can't remember exactly, I think it might have been Methodist. But Butler is not affiliated with any religion and hasn't been since the 50s or 60s. So let me just get that out there right now. We're a private school, but we are not affiliated with any religion. So it is a big accomplishment that these Catholic schools all want to invite Butler into their conference. The other schools they're inviting, Xavier is a Catholic school. There's been rumors being flying around that Creighton's going to join. Creighton's a Catholic school. Dayton, which is a Catholic school. St. Louis, which is a Catholic school. And rumors of other schools like Richmond, Siena, and Detroit as possible members in the future, which are all Catholic schools. Butler is the only one that is not a Catholic school. So that is something that you really have to be proud of, that your favorite team is not a Catholic institution and yet still gets invited because of how good they've been in basketball. So, but as far as this move is concerned, I'm really excited. This is going to be exactly what Butler needs. At first, last summer, when I found out Butler was leaving the Horizon League for the Atlantic 10, I wasn't too thrilled because I was afraid they were going to shed their underdog label, and that's not the case. And obviously, if Butler moves to the Big East, that's a power conference right there. They're not going to be labeled a mid-major anymore. And I've come to terms that that's okay, because we're still going to be a love team as long as we keep our core principles, our morals, of putting the team above ourselves, unselfishness, good character. We've got nothing to worry about. We're going to be loved. We're not dirty. We don't do any of that stuff. And now we're going to this conference with this great competition. We're going to have Horizon League doesn't have ranked teams. The Atlantic 10 has one or two, maybe three. Now this conference, not only are you going to have Butler, but Xavier is usually a ranked team. They're having a down year this year. You've got Georgetown, which is usually a ranked team. You've got Villanova, who over the last couple of years they haven't been ranked, but they're playing pretty well against some ranked teams this year. They have a history of being a ranked team. Marquette is a ranked team year after year. And, if we bring in St. Louis, it's another great ranked team. And it's just going to be a better conference for us. I've seen posts on ESPN.com and some other sports websites saying that it's ridiculous. They're trying to vilify the Catholic 7 and their additions to the new Big East Conference. They're trying to make them look like the bad guys. I'm sorry, but this is a conference that doesn't have Division 1A football, FBS football programs, and basketball's getting screwed out in the end. So really, the villains are the other part of the Big East that all have football programs that are all worried about, making a BCS championship. That's your villains. These guys are tired of getting crapped on. They're tired of adding, the Big East was adding members from Conference USA, like Tulane, Houston, SMU. The more teams you add, and especially crappy teams like that, the more teams you add, the less amount of money that goes around. And they were looking at about an 18-team conference, with Navy added in a few years. And that's less of a share that they all make. Plus, it was weakening the football league anyway. But basketball just wasn't happy. They didn't want these weak teams in there making the conference look worse. And they needed a split. And it's a good thing for them. And it's great for Butler. And another thing, people are making Butler out to be villains. First of all, people are calling them a Catholic school or religious affiliated school, which they're not. Secondly, they're making Butler seem like that they're jumping for the money. That 1 year in the Atlantic 10 and they're already leaving that conference. They're just all about the money, blah, blah, blah. First of all, let me give you a little bit of a Butler history lesson. In the 1980s, Butler very nearly jumped from Division I to Division III. There was no money in the athletic program whatsoever, nearly bankrupted. And Butler almost had to send all their programs to Division III after being in Division I throughout its entire history. That's how bad things got at Butler in the 80s. And before, leading up to that, it was bad. They had no success whatsoever in pretty much every sport. The basketball team went downhill. They were barely drawing 1,000 people for a basketball game. But they never accomplished anything, and there was no money, there was no way to get good recruits, they had no way to offer any scholarships, and they almost went to Division III. But I don't know if it was pride or positive attitude, they decided to keep them in Division I. And finally, in the late 90s, they make it to the NCAA tournament for the first time in like 30 some years. And it started to build after that. Not only were we making the NCAA tournament, we're advancing past the first round, and we're making it to the Sweet 16. Then we're making it to the national championship game, and did that 2 years in a row. And because of that, Butler got noticed. The money in Butler's athletic program is about half of that of the rest of the Atlantic 10. So the payout that they were receiving from the Horizon League, it wasn't a whole lot. The payout that they're receiving from the Atlantic 10 is definitely better, but it's still not a whole lot. The payment that they're going to get from the new Big East Conference is a lot more. The Atlantic 10, what they're making out of the Atlantic 10 right now is about 10% of what they're going to make in the Big East. I think about $4 million a year, $3 to $4 million a year, and I think they're making about $400,000 a year in the Atlantic 10. So Butler's athletic budget, like I said, is about half out of the Atlantic 10. This will give them more of a budget to go out and spend money. And they need to spend the money because, first of all, Butler's men's basketball program is the only sport that makes money, to my knowledge. And because of that, they have to spread that wealth around to the rest of the athletic teams there to keep them from, not being able to field a team. Number two, some of those sports teams can't field a team full of full ride scholarships. The football program, I'm pretty sure not that the entire team does not have scholarship athletes on there. Other sports teams like cross country, track, stuff like that, only half the teams, if that, are filled with scholarship athletes. So now with this Big East money, they can spend money to support more full ride students or student athletes. They're going to be able to spend money to update certain things, whether the facilities or the uniforms or stuff. They're going to be able to go out and afford to recruit better athletes, go a little further, don't have to be in the little Midwest area. They can go out and get, some great athletes from the other side of the country. Number three, Hinkle Fieldhouse is a legendary basketball arena, probably the most hallowed basketball arena in the history of Earth. And we're trying to keep it updated, but we're also trying to preserve it as well. And in order to do that, there needs to be money to do that. So what Butler's been doing over the last couple of years, they've been trying to raise money to preserve and update the facilities. And there's still a little bit of ways to go, and it's going to be a few years. Well, at least that's what we thought. But now with this Big East money, we can get it done a lot quicker. And like I said, it's still going to be preserved as like this great hallowed ground of basketball, but there's also going to be updates to it that's going to make it more attractive for recruits in the future, and it's just going to make it nicer for spectators. So not every seat there has a backing to it, and they're going to try to fix all that, make it more accommodating and comfortable and all that stuff. So with this Big East money, they're going to be able to help Hinkle Fieldhouse. They're going to be able to support more athletic programs and get more scholarship athletes in there. And I forget what the third thing was I said, but the athletic budget. They're going to actually be able to spend more money altogether as the athletic program. So it's just amazing what this is going to do. And like I said, first of all, this is all speculation at this point. This is all rumored by ESPN. None of it has been confirmed by Butler University's officials or anything like that. But if this does take place, this is going to be huge for Butler. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen going forward. We're going to have more marquee matchups at Hinkle Fieldhouse conference-wise, some big games. And the school's going to be able to draw in a lot more money, which is going to be really, really awesome. I'm really excited, looking forward to it. And anyway, I said the 7 schools: Georgetown, Villanova, Seton Hall, St. John's, Providence, Marquette, and DePaul are your Catholic 7. Supposedly they're bringing in Butler and Xavier. I've heard there might be a 10th team they bring in too, which has been rumored to be Creighton, and that they would add Dayton, St. Louis, and Dayton and St. Louis in the following year. And preferably, I'd really like to have. I hate taking Creighton from the Missouri Valley Conference, because the Missouri Valley Conference has a lot of history and a lot of tradition, and I don't want them to have to leave that and ruin it and mess it all up. Plus, it's a little further west, about 2 states over, so I really wouldn't want to have to take them and cause more traveling concerns, more mileage you got to use. So I'd rather they actually stay in the Missouri Valley, and I'd like to add, preferably, I'd rather have Virginia Commonwealth, VCU, added to the conference. They're not a private school. They're not a religious affiliated school. They're just a public school, and I think it'd be neat to have them in there too, with the great basketball program that they've had over the last 10 years. So that's just me. Will it happen? I don't know, but I'd definitely like for it to happen. But I'm just excited for this move, and I'm really excited about what it's going to do for Butler University and the athletic programs there and the basketball program. So anyway, that's that. You guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.